Hi folks, welcome back to the Hoard. Just a quick video, and this is to answer a question. One of my subscribers has I believe it's a TRX 200SX, one of these guys. Though it could be just a TRX 200, it doesn't matter. Same carburetor as the 200S and the 185, and they're all the same. But it looked like from his video, his had a twist throttle on it, and it looked like it was a good twist throttle. It didn't look like it was one of the China versions. It looked like it was a nice twist throttle. And his problem is, as he takes the carburetor apart, right? I'm going to do all this one-handed. You guys are going to be really impressed. Well, you might not be impressed at all, actually. But as you take it apart, he got to the point where, he slid the cable out like this. I'm using two hands. Anyway, he did the little thing here where you take it apart by sliding that little solder ball off the cable, right? So we got, not only am I doing it more or less one-handed, but I'm doing it with gloves on. Now his problem was this piece wouldn't come off, and on some of these they kind of crimp these on, which excuse the expression, just sucks. I mean, this one will pop off, right, without any problem, and you get a nice cable end. Some of them, they put the shield right on there, and they crimp them right to the end of that, and that appears to be what you have. So what to do about that? Well, in my opinion, you have one of two choices. I sent you that link, and in that link you can buy the whole shooting match here, the throttle and the cable, and this costs you about $8 and takes about a week to get to you, right? You got the little ball on the end here, which should make you happy. You got the ball on the end there. This cable was meant for this, and you got the cable adjuster in the center. I recommend doing things that way. I recommend replacing the whole throttle assembly, and then take the carburetor, the twist throttle, and put the whole thing back together again and put it on the shelf, and that is a spare. That's a spare part for you. That's what I would recommend. The second thing you could do is, if you say, damn the torpedoes and full steam ahead, you can go to see your friends at Walmart and get a nice long cable like this, and make sure the end of it will go into your throttle, right? And then once again, take the old cable and put it back together with the old carburetor and the old top, and put all that aside and put it on the shelf, and don't lose anything. And now you have a new cable. I don't know what these cost at Walmart, $3, $5, $2, whatever. Make sure your end goes into the carburetor and all that. Spend some time figuring out how long you want it to be from here to where the little ball goes. Okay? And that's going to be a touch of a challenge for you, because some different carburetors have a different length of this barrel here, and it might be longer or shorter than what you already have. And if you go short, if you're like a 1/4 inch short, that means when you fire it up, your engine's going to be racing, and I'm not sure you're going to have enough play in the adjuster on the end here, right? Right, you screw this in and out to adjust yourself. So my belief is better a touch too long because you can always kind of pull the cable out and get yourself a little bit of a spacer in here. Then too short, because if you're too short, once again your engine's going to be racing and you're going to bang up the gears and you're going to end up with all kinds of trouble. So once you determine what length you want, I just wrap some wire, right? You guys could see the wire wrapped around the cable just like that, right? And then I hit it with a little solder paste, right? I heat it up. I hit it with a little more solder paste. I heat it up. Then I just touch the solder to it, and that gives me a really ugly ball right there. Now at this point, I recommend using a Dremel tool. And go slow and take it easy and form the ball to what you want it to be, or the cylinder, right, to what you want it to be, because you do want it to look something along like that. And you don't have to put it right on the end, right? In my case, I did not. And as a matter of fact, I don't recommend putting it on the end. Hopefully you have enough cable, and then you could put it part way on, and then you could always cut the cable off somewhere near the ball. At that point, I normally use a 4-inch grinder to form the ball or the cylinder on the end there to what I want it to look like, but be careful not to screw your cable up. I truly recommend using a Dremel tool because that'll help you keep your fingers intact and your eyes intact and everything else. You'll have much more control over a Dremel tool than you will over that 4-inch grinder. I used a 4-inch grinder because I'm too lazy to go downstairs and dig up a Dremel tool, and I'm somewhat of a lunatic. So don't be a lunatic. You're a young guy. Try to keep your eyes and fingers intact, right? And when you're playing with a torch, make sure you don't set yourself or anything else ablaze. Wear protective wear. Try to do your soldering on a piece of metal, perhaps, so that should something drip and all, you don't burn the surface of your parents' dining room table, and don't do anything bad and get yourself in a whole heap of trouble. And just one other quick comment for a couple of the young folks out there. If you start young and you work on stuff, and maybe in the beginning half the stuff you try comes out good and the other half kind of doesn't come out very good, then you do more and more of it, and before you know it, 3/4 of the stuff you do comes out good and 1/4 kind of isn't great. And then as you work on it some more, 90% of what you do will come out great, and the other stuff will kind of work, maybe a little bit won't come out good, but the rest of it'll work. And then before you know it, you're doing beautiful work. I obviously fabricated these motor mounts and all that, and some of you might look at this fab job and say, "Oh God, what are you, a butcher?" But it works. So this is part of my 90-something% that works. But the more of this stuff one does, you'll actually get to the point where it not only works almost all the time, but it'll look good also. So for the young folks out there, don't think that the first time you go to drill a hole in something that it's going to turn out just perfect. It won't. You're going to be fighting it. But if you do enough of it, you get better and better and better at it. And as time passes, you figure out what tools you kind of want, what tools work better. As you get better at it, you'll probably end up getting more work to do, and you'll get more people paying attention to your efforts, which means they'll either hire you to do things, now you have an income to play with stuff, or they'll be generous and say, "Hey, I upgraded my welder. Do you want my old one?" Stuff like that, which moves you forward. Nothing wrong with playing video games, unless that's all you do with yourself. I personally do recommend for the young people who like to do this stuff, get out and do it. Have some fun. If you like to make knives, right? If you like to work on this stuff, work on it. What makes it hard as a kid, and I was a kid back in the day, is that typically you have a zero budget, right? You don't have any money. The only way you kind of play with this stuff is if somebody gives you one of these, and obviously they're not going to give you a brand new one, or if they do, then you don't have to work on it, so this is all moot. But chances are they're going to give you one, or the one you're going to acquire is going to need a lot of love and attention, so you got to kind of learn to work on it. Well, if you got zero budget for parts, that kind of slows you down a little bit. But hopefully somebody out there has a friend or a parent or a sibling or somebody with an eBay account that'll give you $8 worth of credit, and then you can buy this whole thing and you're all set. You just have to smash it together. So I hope that helps, Nathan. I think it's Nathan or Nathaniel. I don't know. Nathan. Let's go with Nathan. Nate. There you go. Hey, Nate. Give it a shot. Let me know if you need some more help. I like seeing the young folks get into this stuff. I don't think the Garage Gang has enough young folks in it. We really have to expand this to get more young people doing this. Either that or we're going to be a generation of garages full of crapola and nobody wanting it. I'm sorry if my video where I was asking questions, where I talked about me going over the side. I have no plans on going over the side anytime soon. I'm healthy as a horse. Unfortunately, I eat like a horse, and I eat way too many carbohydrates for my own good. When you're a young guy, you could get away with eating carbohydrates. As you get to be an older guy, first you kind of get a little fat, then you kind of get a little diabetic, and then you kind of get a little bit sick. Well, I haven't hit the diabetic stage, but if I'm not careful with carbohydrates, I tend to get a little bit fat. And once again, we know the step after that, a little diabetic, and then after that you get a little bit sick. So when you're a young guy, you could get away with Mountain Dew for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and the only thing it does is make you a cranky teenager. When you get to be an old person, it also messes with your sugar level and your obesity, and you get into trouble. So for the young people, enjoy the heck out of Mountain Dew. One day you're not going to be able to have it like us old guys. Anyway, folks, enough of this. I got stuff I got to do. Once again, anybody has any questions, please ask them. Remember to keep your feet down, keep your head up, and get out there and enjoy all your days. Make sure you have fun. Bye now.